Greetings YouTube land, this is Brian Thomas with Born This Way Body Arts, and in some of my last videos I received some comments with people asking how to do like an oil slick, or basically change the way that all the colors hit that barbell and make it not all one solid color. I'm going to do a series of videos showing different techniques that you can use on your jewelry to obtain different results. So what I'm going to start with today is showing how using a titanium barbell, if we add a steel bead to it, how that kind of goes through and screws up the mix, so to speak. Right here we have a titanium barbell. This is an F136 titanium piece. That means it's an alloy of titanium and aluminum. You get a really wide spectrum of color out of this type of titanium as opposed to like a commercially pure version or F67. Next to it, this little bead right here is a piece of F138 surgical steel. Now, surgical steel doesn't anodize the same as titanium does, and I'll show you here in just a second how that reacts when we try to anodize it. Now, down at the bottom of the cup here, you'll see that I placed the steel bead down in my solution, which is a mixture of distilled water and TSP solution. I have my anodizer right now set to, we're going to go with 95 volts. Now normally this would give me like a nice blurple color on my jewelry. So you'll notice when I go ahead and put my anode in the water here and I hit that jewelry, all that happens is a release of gases. It basically sends off a lot of bubbles. Nothing happens to that bead whatsoever. It stays the exact same color and nothing changes. Okay, I've attached the smaller bead to the barbell now. So the bead that's on the left is made out of steel, and the bead that's on the right hand side is made out of titanium. The shaft of the barbell is also titanium. So I'm going to show you what happens when we hit it with 95 volts. Instead of the entire barbell becoming a solid blurple color, the voltage is going to get thrown off by that steel bead being on the end. This should give us a nice graduation of color along the barbell. Alright, so we hit it a couple times. You'll notice that steel bead keeps releasing off all those little oxygen bubbles, and the jewelry starts to slowly change color. Here in just a second I'll pull that out of the water and show you the nice fade that it actually does on the jewelry. And when we pull that out, you'll notice that that jewelry is no longer just one solid color. It actually goes through and it's nice and kind of, I don't know, we almost have like a nice ice blue at the end, and then it's faded all the way down, and you can see the colors of the spectrum go all the way back down to bronze, right where that steel bead is at. So what's actually happening here is that when that 95 volts is hitting the jewelry, it's making contact and doing its thing all the way down here, but where that steel bead comes in, it's taking that voltage and it's actually lowering the voltage, which is why we're getting the color on the lower end of the spectrum down here and then a higher end of the spectrum down here. Now, even though we hit it with the 95 volts, which should be a nice blurple color, you'll notice that that barbell is definitely blue on the ends, which I don't know if we can get a good shot of that. It's nice and blue on the end, and then bronze down towards that end. So we don't get that true blurple color off of it, and it's just fun to experiment with different voltages with those beads so you can give those nice fade effects on the jewelry, and it's really easy to do, and you can play with that doing, you know, a steel bead on both ends or just a steel bead on one end. It's also a lot of fun to take a titanium captive ring and put a steel bead in it and then anodize it, and you get a really cool fade, but we'll save that for another video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments and hit subscribe so that way you can always see our following videos.